Episode 7 opens with a heavy feeling in the air, like something bad is already decided and everyone is just walking toward it. The streets feel quiet but not safe. This episode is not about loud action. It is about pressure. The kind of pressure that makes people think twice before they speak and look over their shoulder before they move. From the first moments, it is clear that the balance of power is shifting again, and nobody is standing on solid ground. Tommy moves through this episode like a man who knows time is running out. He does not rush. He does not panic. But his eyes tell a different story. Every deal now feels fragile. Every meeting feels like a test. He knows that one mistake can turn allies into enemies. The city around him feels smaller, tighter, and more dangerous than before. Even places that once felt safe now feel watched. This episode shows how power is not just about money or muscle. It is about control, and control is slipping. People who once followed orders now ask questions. People who once stayed quiet now look for exits. The tension does not come from shouting or fighting. It comes from pauses, from looks, from things not being said. Episode 7 slows everything down so the danger feels closer. There is also a strong sense that the past is catching up with everyone. Old choices are no longer hidden. Old promises start to matter again. The episode reminds us that in this world, nothing stays buried forever. Even when things look calm on the surface, trouble is already moving underneath. By the end of this section, it is clear that Episode 7 is not setting up peace. It is setting up consequences. As the episode moves forward, pressure starts coming from all sides, and there is no clear way out. Tommy is forced to think carefully about every move he makes. He cannot trust easily, but he also cannot work alone. This is the trap he is stuck in. If he pulls away, he becomes weak. If he leans too close, he risks betrayal. Episode 7 shows how lonely leadership really is. The conversations in this episode feel different. They are shorter, colder, and more careful. People speak like they are choosing every word from a list of safe options. Even friendly talks carry hidden meaning. Everyone wants to know who is winning and who is about to lose. Nobody wants to be on the wrong side when things fall apart. There is also a strong feeling that someone is always one step ahead. Plans are being made, but not all plans are visible. Some characters act confident, but that confidence feels forced. Others stay quiet, which feels even more dangerous. Episode 7 makes it clear that silence can be a weapon. When someone stops explaining themselves, it usually means they already decided what comes next. This part of the episode focuses on mental battles more than physical ones. The real fights are happening inside people's heads. Fear, doubt, and pride all push against each other. Some characters start to realize they may have chosen the wrong side too late. Others believe they can still fix things, even when signs say otherwise. The tension keeps building, and it becomes clear that whatever happens next will not be clean or simple. Loyalty becomes the most dangerous word in Episode 7. Everyone claims it, but very few truly live by it. This episode shows how loyalty can bend, crack, and finally break under pressure. Relationships that once felt strong now feel uncertain. Trust is tested not by big betrayals, but by small moments that feel off. There are scenes where characters stand close but feel far apart. They talk but do not connect. These moments are important because they show emotional distance growing where unity once existed. Episode 7 uses these quiet moments to show that things are changing in ways that cannot be undone. Once doubt enters the room, it never fully leaves. This section also highlights how personal feelings start to interfere with business. Emotions that were once controlled now leak into decisions. Anger, fear, love, and guilt all play a role. Some characters believe they are acting for the right reasons, but those reasons may lead to disaster. The line between smart moves and emotional mistakes becomes thin. By the end of this part, it feels like everyone is standing at a crossroad. The choices they make now will decide who survives the next chapter. Episode 7 does not give clear answers. Instead, it lets the audience feel the weight of these choices. The tension is no longer building slowly. It is ready to snap. The final stretch of Episode 7 feels calm, but it is the most dangerous calm of all. This is where the episode shows its true power. Nothing explodes yet, but everything is in place. The quiet feels planned. The looks feel intentional. The silence feels final. This is the kind of ending that tells you something bad is coming, even if you cannot see it yet. Characters move like they already accepted what is ahead. Some look ready. Others look afraid. A few look relieved, like the waiting is worse than whatever comes next. Episode 7 uses this feeling to prepare the ground for the finale. Every step taken here feels like it cannot be taken back. The episode ends with a strong sense that lines have been drawn. Sides are clearer, even if they are not spoken out loud. The danger does not come from one single enemy anymore. It comes from everywhere at once. Trust is low. Patience is gone. And survival will soon demand sacrifice. This ending does not shock with action. It shocks with meaning. Episode 7 leaves the audience knowing that the storm is already moving. The calm is just the last breath before everything breaks. The second part of this episode slows the world down and lets the pressure speak for itself. Nothing feels rushed, but everything feels urgent. Every character seems to understand that time is no longer on their side. Decisions are being made quietly, often without full trust in the people standing nearby. The danger here is not loud. It lives in the pauses, in the unfinished sentences, and in the looks that last a second too long. Power in this episode feels unstable. What once felt controlled now feels shaky. Characters who were confident before now hesitate, even if they try not to show it. Meetings feel colder. Conversations feel guarded. People are no longer speaking freely because words have consequences. One wrong sentence can shift balance and everyone knows it. This creates an atmosphere where silence becomes safer than honesty. This section also shows how pressure changes behavior. People who used to lead with strength now lead with fear, even if they hide it well. Some start to question their own choices, wondering if they trusted the wrong person or stayed loyal for too long. Others double down on their decisions, believing that backing out now would only make things worse. Both paths feel dangerous, and that is what makes this moment so tense. The streets no longer feel like home for anyone. Familiar places start to feel exposed, like eyes are watching from every corner. Even moments of rest feel uneasy. There is no true break from the stress. Every character seems to carry the weight of what might happen next. And that weight affects how they move, talk, and think. The fear is not obvious, but it is constant. This part of the episode also highlights how power creates isolation. Being in charge means standing alone, even when surrounded by people. Trust becomes a rare thing, and when it exists, it feels fragile. Characters struggle with the idea that they may have to act without support. The idea of being alone against many enemies becomes very real here. By the end of this section, it becomes clear that nothing can stay the same. The pressure has reached a point where something must give. Plans are forming, but they feel desperate rather than confident. Everyone is preparing for impact, even if they do not know where it will come from. This moment is not about action yet. It is about realization. The realization that survival now depends on choices that cannot be undone. This part of the episode digs deep into loyalty and shows how fragile it really is. When fear enters the room, people who once stood firm now start to shift their weight, unsure where they truly belong. Loyalty is no longer a promise made from the heart. It becomes a question, and for some, it becomes a risk they are no longer willing to take. This section makes it clear that staying loyal can sometimes be just as dangerous as betrayal. Relationships begin to feel strained in quiet ways. There are no loud arguments or open fights here. Instead, there are moments where trust fades slowly. A delayed response, a missed call, a look that avoids eye contact. These small details carry heavy meaning. They show that cracks are forming, even in bonds that once felt unbreakable. Episode 7 uses these moments to show how distance can grow even when people stand face to face. This section also explores how past decisions refuse to stay in the past. Choices that once seemed smart now look risky. Promises made under pressure come back with consequences. Characters are forced to face the reality that they cannot escape what they helped create. The weight of those choices hangs over every conversation. Nobody can pretend anymore. The truth is close, and it is uncomfortable. Emotions start to leak into places where logic should be. Anger pushes people to act faster than they should. Fear makes others freeze when they should move. Love becomes a weakness instead of strength. This episode shows how emotions can blur judgment, especially when survival is on the line. Some characters believe they are protecting what matters most, but they do not see how their actions may destroy it instead. There is also a strong sense of internal conflict here. Characters struggle between what they want to do and what they feel they must do. Right and wrong become harder to define. The line between loyalty and self-preservation grows thin. This struggle plays out in silence more than words. It shows in hesitation, in restless movements, and in choices that feel forced rather than confident. By the end of the section, the tension feels heavier than before. Trust has weakened. Doubt has settled in. Even the strongest bonds feel uncertain. This is the moment where it becomes clear that not everyone will make it through what is coming. Loyalty will be tested again soon, and next time, it may break completely. This part of the episode carries a strange calm, the kind that feels planned rather than natural. Everything slows down, but the danger does not disappear. It actually feels closer than ever. Characters move carefully, like they already know the next step could be their last safe one. Words become fewer and actions become more meaningful. Every choice feels final, even when it looks small on the surface. Fear starts to change the way people see each other. Familiar faces no longer bring comfort. Instead, they raise questions. Can this person still be trusted, or are they already thinking about survival over loyalty? Episode 7 shows how quickly confidence can turn into doubt. A person you trusted yesterday can feel like a threat today, not because they changed, but because the situation did. This section also focuses on emotional weight. Some characters carry guilt for things they cannot undo. Others feel trapped by decisions that once felt necessary. There is no clean way out anymore. Even the strongest characters seem tired, not physically, but mentally. The constant pressure has worn them down. You can feel it in the way they pause before speaking, and in the way they avoid certain topics altogether. Power shifts quietly here. No big announcement is made. No crown is handed over. Instead, power moves through silence and timing. Someone waits instead of acting. Someone else acts too soon. These moments decide more than loud threats ever could. Episode 7 makes it clear that control is no longer about force. It is about patience and knowing when to stay still. There is also a growing sense of separation. Characters who once worked closely now feel distant, even when standing side by side. Everyone seems to be carrying a private plan. Trust is replaced by caution. Conversations feel like negotiations, even between people who care about each other. This distance creates emotional coldness that spreads through every scene. By the end of the section, it feels like the episode is holding its breath. Everything is set, but nothing has fallen yet. The calm feels heavy, almost uncomfortable. It tells the audience that what comes next will not be simple or fair. The ground is ready, the pieces are placed. And when things finally break, there will be no way to put them back together. This part of the episode shifts the focus toward movement and intention. Even though the tension remains quiet, plans are no longer just thoughts. They begin to take shape through small actions and careful positioning. Characters move with purpose, not panic. Every step feels measured, like they are walking through a space filled with traps. Nobody rushes, because rushing now could mean exposure. The streets feel different in this section. They no longer belong to anyone. Control over territory feels uncertain and power feels temporary. People who once walked with confidence now check their surroundings more often. The city itself seems to watch, silent and heavy. This change in atmosphere shows that the struggle for power is reaching a critical stage. This section also highlights how strategy replaces emotion. Characters who let feelings guide them earlier now try to shut those feelings down. They focus on survival, on numbers, on timing. Trust becomes a tool rather than a bond. Some alliances exist only because they are useful, not because they are real. Episode 7 shows how quickly relationships can turn into arrangements when fear takes over. There are moments where danger almost breaks through. A meeting that feels too quiet. A delay that feels intentional. A message that arrives late. These small details raise the tension without needing action. The episode uses these moments to show that violence is close, even if it has not arrived yet. It is waiting for the right moment. This part of the episode also reveals who is thinking ahead and who is stuck reacting. Some characters adjust their plans when new information appears. Others stay locked into choices that no longer fit the situation. This difference matters. In a world like this, flexibility means survival and stubbornness leads to loss. By the end of this section, it becomes clear that all the pieces are finally in motion. There is no turning back. The episode has moved past warning signs and into preparation. The next move will change everything. This moment feels like the last chance to step away, but no one does. Everyone keeps moving forward, fully aware that the cost will be high.